Welcome back, teachers. This is a quick demo to communicate the guidelines for setting up your Power Teacher Gradebook for the 14-15 school year. This refresher is for courses that are year-long that meet every single day for the entire duration of the school year. This is not for semester courses or for year-long courses that meet every other day. Those refreshers can be found at a different link. The first area I'd like to draw your attention to is the classes pane in the upper left corner of your screen. You should see the list of courses that you teach. If you don't, click the drop-down arrow and select either the current classes link or the particular term that we're in. So for example, if this is my year-long term, then I can click the 14-15 link and I should see the list of classes that would populate for that term. If you've tried that and you still don't see all of the classes that you expect to see, please talk to your school data manager so that way that person can check to make sure that your section settings are correct. Once you see your classes, go ahead and select the class that we're going to do the setup. And now look at the categories in the lower left-hand corner. This is the categories pane. Depending on whether this is your first login to Power Teacher Gradebook or if you used the gradebook last year will determine what categories you see populated. You need to determine which categories you're going to use this school year by having common categories by your department. So if you've got questions about why that is, or if you've got questions particularly about the category decision, then talk to your principal. To add a category, you click the plus sign. The new category window appears. You type the name of the category and its abbreviation. Just for illustration purposes, I'm going to add a project category. You can select a color. I highly recommend changing the points possible to 100. So this way, each category and assignment, you don't accidentally weight an assignment by having it out of a different number of points possible. So for example, if you created a category and the assignments were out of 10 points and another category and the assignments were out of 20 points, then you might be inadvertently weighting assignments within a weighted category and you may not get the results in your final grade calculation than you expected. To keep that from happening, keep your points possible consistent and out of 100 possible points. Then click OK. And your new category appears in the categories pane. If you've got a category that you're not using, then you can highlight it, click the minus sign, and confirm the delete to remove that category. If you try to delete a category that's already attached to an assignment, PowerSchool will not let you do that. So if that's the case, then just make sure that when we go to your grade setup that you are using the category and the category weight with the categories that you are using this school year, not one that you've used in the previous school year. To edit a category, you can double click on the name of the category and that will bring up the Edit Assignment Category window. Okay. Once you have all of your categories set up, then go to the Grade Setup tab. I want to take a second to talk to you about the start and end dates that you see here. These are very important to consider when we're talking about grade calculations. Assignment dates that fall within these date ranges will tell you where that assignment will fall into that reporting period. So for example, for quarter one, if I have an assignment date of October the 29th, since it's so close to first quarter, I might be just a little bit late turning my grades in or putting the last few assignments in. If I let it default to that day's date, then actually it's going to calculate into the second quarter because that's where that start date is. So if I intended it to go to first quarter, I would need to change the assignment date and make sure that it falls within the Q1 date range. This is particularly important when you are looking at your exam term. Your exam term is from June the 9th to June the 10th. So in order for your exam to calculate correctly, you would have to make sure that there is one assignment called your exam and that the date for that assignment is either June 9th or June 10th. Any other assignments that you add during that date range, the system will calculate that out like it is part of the exam grade, so we don't want that. So just pay close attention to the dates, the start and end dates that are in these columns, but if you've got questions, talk to your data manager to make sure that you're adding those correctly. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and set up your F1 term, and the F1 term simply means that's your final mark for the whole course. So click the gray arrow, and we're going to calculate the final marks using term weights. Here we're going to do semester 1 as 40%, semester 2 as 40%, and your exam term as 20%. Exams count 20% of the total grade regardless of the final exam. So if it's an EOC, a North Carolina final exam, a CTE post-assessment, or a teacher-made final exam, they all count as 20%. That's common across the district. Once you have that set up, click Save. Now I'm going to take a second to talk to you about the other terms that you see here. Since this is a year-long class that meets every single day, when your students get their report cards, they're going to see quarter 1 grade, quarter 2 grade, quarter 3, quarter 4, and a final mark. The S1 and S2 are here for courses that are year-long that meet every other day. We need to go ahead and configure these so when parents look in the parent portal, it's not confusing. So we need to set them up so that something is showing up correctly in the parent portal. We are not storing grades for your class at the S1 or S2. So go ahead and click the gray arrow beside S1. And we're going to configure that as term weights. And here we want the Q1 and Q2 to have equal weight. Notice that the default that I have here, even though the weight is 100, the percent is 50%, and that's fine as it is. But if that confuses you and you would rather have the weight match the percent, you can change it to 50 and 50. Notice the percent stayed the same, and you can click Save. So now we're going to set up our Q1 term. We're going to set up the Q1 as category weights. So I'm going to add a category, and these would be what you've decided upon with your department. So for the sake of illustration, I'm going to select classwork, homework, and tests as the 3 categories that my department decided on. And I'm also going to go with the weight that my department decided. So for example, my classwork's going to have a weight of 45, my homework a weight of 10, and tests a weight of 45. Okay. Once you've done that, save it, and copy those settings to Q2, Q3, and Q4, because we want those to be identical for every quarter in this course. Click Next and Finish. And now when I go to Q2, it should be set up identical to Q1. Q3 is identical to Q1, and Q4 is identical. We also need to set up S2 the same way we did as S1. So we're going to calculate that out with term weights. And again, we could leave this as is. It's completely fine as long as it's 50% each. Or if that bothers you, you can switch that to 50-50 and click Save. Now we're going to look at your exam term. Your exam term will be calculated as total points. There's going to be one single assignment that you add in the X3 date range, and since there's only one, you're not actually calculating a series of grades in any particular way, so total points is fine. Okay, and that ends how you set up your grades to calculate for year-long classes that meet every single day of the year. If you would like additional help with the Power Teacher Gradebook and its other features, you can visit the NCSIS website. Under the training link and recorded refreshers, there is a gradebook webinar that you can watch that will help you with the other features of the Power Teacher Gradebook. In addition to that, you can talk to your school principal about the grading practices or your data manager with things like where are your sections, where are your students, and things of that nature. If you have general questions, feel free to contact me, Amanda Richardson, at arichardson@bcswan.net. Thanks, and I hope you have a great school year.